Everybody's spidey senses are tingling with the recent news surrounding Spider-Man 3. Myself and Patrick are going to talk everything you need to know about the upcoming Spider-Man sequel on a very special webisode edition of Unpeeled. Welcome back and hello, Unpeelers. I'm Liam Crowley from the confines of my bedroom, joined alongside by Patrick Gunn. And today we're digging into that recent casting news and rumors surrounding the currently untitled Spider-Man 3 from Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. Patrick, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really excited. I thought about wearing a Spider-Man shirt, honestly. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Because this is news that, not only piques our interest as reporters, but also as fans, because this is pretty exciting. So I got to ask, for starters, this is looking like a large cast. We've heard a lot of rumors, a lot of confirmations. Who is returning to this Spider-Man universe so far? And can you distinguish between who's confirmed and who's rumored?
So there's a lot to go with here. I mean, most of the original cast from the original Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, obviously Tom Holland, of course, are going to be coming back into the fray with this film. Zendaya, Marissa Tomei, most of those characters are coming back. Even as you've seen from the post-credit scenes, it looks like might be seeing J.K. Simmons in some capacity returning as J. Jonah Jameson, not confirmed yet. We'll have to see where they go with that one. But the new people, as in the returners from old previous films in the MCU and in Spider-Man. The rumor mill started when Jamie Foxx was exclusively reported to be coming back to playing Electro, which he was obviously in Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which a lot of people consider to be the worst Spider-Man film in the group, but that's kind of up for debate. He's rumored to return to playing Electro in this film in some capacity. The other confirmed name that's coming back for Marvel, that's an MCU actor, is Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. That's the only one that has been directly confirmed. There have been a lot of other names thrown out as rumor mills everywhere. I've seen Dane DeHaan coming back to play the Green Goblin. We've seen Kirsten Dunst maybe with MJ. Would be interesting, 2 MJs in one movie. And then recently we even saw something with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. That's right, the previous 2 live-action Spider-Mans confirmed to come back. They would be coming. An Entertainment Tonight candidate, reached out to Sony Pictures, and they said that they could not confirm they were in the movie. They didn't say no. They just said that they could not confirm they're in the movie.
Very, very interesting stuff, because saying it's not confirmed is a lot different from saying it's outright false. So
exactly,
maybe they're in negotiations. Maybe we're getting closer. And as for Jamie Foxx's Electro, I kind of liked his performance in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know that's not the popular opinion, but I'm very happy to see him get another shot, because it's no secret, not a lot of fans liked his performance. But speaking of fans, a lot of fans and critics alike are mentioning that all these characters returning from different iterations of Spider-Man past franchises could lead to the possibility of the Spider-Verse coming to the MCU. We obviously got a taste of that in the animated Miles Morales movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. What would a live-action Spider-Verse mean for the next film?
It would be monumental, because, Into the Spider-Verse, yes, you got to see a piece of it, and you've seen pieces of this, of course, through shows and through comics and everything, but with Into the Spider-Verse specifically, you weren't really dealing with these kind of older characters coming back. These were new versions of all these characters for the first time. With this is the first time this is probably about the second time, really, that you're seeing a previous iterations of Spider-Man coming back. With obviously last time there was a little bit of a tease with J. Jonah Jameson and J.K. Simmons coming back. Now with Electro, that opens up the possibilities to getting all these characters that are rumored to be coming back to actually be in the movie. And also having that isn't even all the point that Benedict Cumberbatch is in this as Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is the one character that you could probably see throughout the entire pantheon of the MCU, opening things up with the portals, using magic to find a way to go to other dimensions. And it could be just a short cameo. He appeared in Thor Ragnarok for a scene, and that didn't really cause earthquakes or earth waves in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But especially with Electro coming back in a previous iteration, this does open things up for the possibility of seeing something that we've never seen in the live-action Spider-Man universe.
And if there's any character that could introduce it, it is someone like Doctor Strange, as you mentioned. The subtitle of his next movie is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So we're obviously getting closer towards a multiverse coming to the MCU. Could they use those multiverse themes in Doctor Strange 2 to lead into Spider-Man 3? I know Doctor Strange 2 is coming out after Spider-Man 3, but you know, it's all connected somehow. But as we mentioned, a live action Spider-Verse movie could cause seismic shifts and waves throughout the MCU, but also within Sony's own Sonyverse that they're kind of creating with Venom and Morbius.
Yeah,
So
Morbius.
going off a theoretical here, saying that the Spider-Verse actually comes to live action, how would it affect the future of live action Spider-Man films?
Well, I think it's big because it kind of opens up the world for possibility of Spider-Man post MCU. Because Marvel and Sony have had obviously a rocky relationship dealing with the character. Because especially because I mean it's weird. It's weird to having Tom Holland Spider-Man's being films being separate and then seeing him also being in the Avengers. So this kind of opens up the picture to really expand the universe that Sony has and gets the expanded characters. You mentioned Morbius, and in the end, the Morbius trailer, you had a cameo from Michael Keaton as the Vulture, villain from Spider-Man Homecoming. And they've been talking about teasing the Sinister Six for a while now, getting other villains. We've even seen Carnage in the end, with Venom with Woody Harrelson. So there could be a big opening of making really this craziness of Spider-Man. And they know it works. And the thing is, they know it works at the film level. You saw with Into the Spider-Verse how well received that was. And adding in Tom Holland's character, who could be Spider-Man for why he could be given that he's only 24 years old, he could be Spider-Man for years, and having him interact with these previous iterations of the character at the live action level, that just opens up so many possibilities for amazing, wild stories that we could be seeing.
And not only, as you mentioned, was Into the Spider-Verse a financial success, it was a critical success. It won an Oscar. It won Best Animated Movie of that year. But as you mentioned, Spider-Man properties are still owned by Sony. Like the future of that character and everything in its world is in the hands of Sony Pictures. So with that said, we touched on it a little earlier, including Doctor Strange, someone who is a master of the mystic arts, perhaps becoming a master of the multiverse in the future. How does that change the equation for them? How is the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the 23 film juggernaut we've seen over the past 12 years, excuse me, how is that affected by a potential live action Spider-Verse?
It could really like another seismic shift. And I don't really, my thoughts really for this aren't really as much just Spider-Man, because obviously Spider-Man is one massive character, and it really means, okay, Spider-Man 3, which is partially owned by Sony, it's opening up for Spider-Man. Cool. What does it mean for the rest of the MCU? With involving Doctor Strange going into multiple generations here, I think that this could be opening up not just for Spider-Man characters, but for also the Foxverse. Because you remember, they just acquired all those characters, and we still haven't seen anything, really any plan for those characters with Deadpool, with the X-Men, with the Fantastic Four. Imagine what you could do here with Doctor Strange, maybe the Multitude of the Madness. That's something involving, maybe there's a tease with X-Men or Fantastic Four with somehow Stephen Strange going into space or another planet and then opening it up to seeing the Fantastic Four coming out somewhere. So I think that there's a lot of ranges you could do to get some creative characters, maybe getting some interesting villains in there that you haven't seen before, that you could open up with the character of Doctor Strange is a really fun, bizarre character to go into, and he can like open so many doors up with that, just with one character like that. So that could really shift the MCU into a bigger picture.
And that response, as a fan, just got me so excited for the future of these properties. And one thing I will add to that, the director of Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, Sam Raimi, the director of the Tobey Maguire original trilogy back in the early 2000s.
Bringing it all back.
Take that information as you will, connect the dots as you will, but, you know, it's out there. So let's get into some speculation now. Right. There are so many potential characters we could see returning from old Spider-Man movies, characters from the page that we haven't seen adapted into live action. Who do you want to see enter this live action Spider-Verse if and when they adapt it on screen?
Well, we kind of mentioned Kirsten Dunst before, and like obviously she's a fantastic actor that some people thought got shorted a little bit as Mary Jane in those films. I think it would be kind of fun to see her coming back and like interacting with with Zendaya. How did that work? Like another MJ with two MJs in the same movie. I don't think that they've actually confirmed Zendaya as Mary Jane. She's just MJ, but you know, it's kind of, that would be still kind of fun. Another actor that I think Doc Ock is the villain that most people would probably say, but I honestly kind of want to see Willem Dafoe come back. He's just he's a great actor. He's so much fun, and he's really, really hamming it up in the first Spider-Man movie. I mean, when he's talking to himself in the mirror, he's such an exaggerated, insane character. It would be so much fun to see him coming back. Imagine him coming back and interacting, having like a fight with Jake Gyllenhaal or something. That would be so much fun. I think some other characters that we haven't really seen as much in live action would be cool too. One at Prowler, that he was a really cool villain that they showed Into the Spider-Verse. And Mahershala Ali was a great actor to play him. Maybe you don't get Mahershala back, but you can get him more than one film coming back in person. And another character, I was looking through comics lore, why not a character called Mr. Negative, who's a villain. He's a part of the Sinister Six. He has interesting mind powers, he's a part of criminal activity. He's someone we haven't really seen before. That, like, again, with this new world of possibilities, while it's great to go back and seeing these old villains that we bring them back and bring this whole larger universe, it also opens that up to getting new things, new perspective, new characters like the Fantastic Four and all like the hundreds and thousands of issues of Spider-Man comics to get in here. I don't know. What are you thinking about this, Liam?
Well, as you said, there's so much more to explore and bring old characters back, bring new characters in. But just some thoughts based on what you were saying. The Prowler, Aaron Davis, even though we haven't seen him suit up, he does exist in the MCU in Spider-Man.
Right. Oh, yeah, Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. So get a great actor like Donald Glover in a full-on Prowler costume. That would be pretty sweet. Or getting someone like Mahershala Ali to fulfill the live-action role after being an animated, although I don't really see that happening because he is going to be playing Blade in an upcoming MCU movie. So for the sake of everything, kind of one actor to one role, they might want to save him there. But Willem Dafoe, I really like that shout. He's a great actor. He hammed it up so much in that original Spider-Man trilogy, and I would love to see him bring those chops back to the MCU. But another Osborn I'd like to see come back is Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn. We mentioned earlier in this episode that he's being rumored for one, but also The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There was so much potential that they really didn't capitalize on. And Dane DeHaan is such a fantastic actor, and I really enjoyed his performance. So I would like to see him get another crack at it. Him alongside Tom Holland would be pretty neat. And in terms of going into the comics, I like the Mr. Negative shout. If you ever played the Spider-Man PS4 video game, he was an integral part of that, and people seem to really like him there. But my dream casting, which might be a little tough because, we talk about maybe Willem Dafoe coming back or Dane DeHaan coming back as Harry Osborn. I want Matthew McConaughey to play the MCU version of Norman Osborn so bad, and I don't know if that's possible if you bring in Willem Dafoe and Dane DeHaan as past Osborns. That's the dream for me. We'll have to see what happens. Spider-Man 3 is set to hit theaters in December of 2021, and I know myself and Pat will be first in line to get tickets. And that's going to be all the time we have on this webisode edition of Unpeeled. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV, and you can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook at CitrusTV Entertainment. And be sure to check out the Entertainment tab coming on every Tuesday and Friday on our Instagram stories at CitrusTV. I'm Liam Crowley, that's Patrick Gunn, and we'll see you next time.